The opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
And good Sunday evening to you. My name's Russell Mills, and thank you so much for tuning in for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local on what has been a pretty chilly Sunday. And, you know, whatever else is cooling down, the cryptocurrency markets have been a little bit cool here at the end of the year. But what does 22 hold in store? Could be huge. I don't know. But I know a guy who knows some people, and he's brought several of them here to talk about it on the radio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell. Thanks so much. And you know what? It might be chilly. It might be chilly outside and the market might be cold, but hopefully we can warm things up, and we brought the right people to have the conversation. And whether you're a Gen Z, a millennial, Gen Xer, or maybe even a baby boomer, we're here to cast a wide net through the FM radio, and we're here to explain cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And so this is the right place, so stay tuned if you've heard those terms before and you want to learn more. But, you know, like Russell was saying, we're in 2022. So what exactly can we expect for the cryptocurrency market? How will the monetary policies of the Federal Reserve affect markets in the coming months? I think that is the big question. And how will stocks be impacted? And will cryptocurrency follow? But let's fear not, because today in segment 2, we are going to bring on our program's official economist to help us answer these questions and more. His name is Jerry Robinson, and he is the founder of followthemoney.com and is an economist, trader, and author. And although Jerry is not a fortune teller, I'm sure he will have plenty of great input on the 2022 outlook for crypto. And however, there is one person who does continue to bring good fortune to my life. And no, he's not my lucky leprechaun, but he is my wonderful co-host, and his name is Eric Cooper. Welcome back, my friend.
Did you know that I was 70% Irish?
And that is kind of why I did that.
Okay, there you go. Just awesome. But yes, no, we love talking to Jerry because Jerry, he looks at it from this is what it is, and it's not anything having to do with his own personal hopes or dreams. But he's a good guy, so I like talking to Jerry.
I think he's going to have some good analysts or some analysis, I should say. But speaking of a great outlook for 2022, Eric, why don't you share with our wonderful audience about the new advantages that they could have with our wonderful show sponsor?
Yeah, today's show is brought to you by a company called Hedge. What happens if we enter a new bear market? Do you have a strategy to obtain crypto at cheaper prices? Do you plan on DCA or automating your buying? What about getting all or part of your paycheck in cryptocurrency?
I want to do that.
Hedge is revolutionizing how you get paid. Hedge makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into crypto, whether you're an employer or employee. It's 4 easy steps, Matt. 4 easy steps. So start getting paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. Crypto is a long-term play, and Hedge is here to make it easy to stack those sats after month. So what are you waiting for? Start living on the hedge. Check them out at gethedge.io. That's gethedge.io, or check them at MatthewJMoore.com.
That's right, MattJMoore.com. And if you're ready to pull that trigger, just go to my website, and there's a little button on the homepage that says Get Hedge. You can start the sign-up process today. Super, super easy. And you know, speaking of easy, one person who is extremely easy to listen to. Easy to listen to, Eric. Charlie Spears from Nakamotor Partners. He's actually in his studio with us, and he's not only a Bitcoin miner, but he is a world-class networker, and that is why we have brought him here today to share about the monthly Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup. Charlie, please introduce yourself and share with everyone about this coming Bitcoin Meetup.
Howdy, y'all. It's great to be back. I love showing up here and talking about Bitcoin. Again, I will say that we have our monthly Bitcoin meetup this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Bar 473 at 7 p.m. Bar 473 this Thursday. The kind of theme this month is Bitcoin for boomers and everybody else. So we're going to kind of be a little less technical and talk more about the big picture of why Bitcoin. You've heard it on the show. We're going to reiterate it maybe in longer form on Thursday.
Now, Charlie, you said that we were talking, all these are now organized by the Tulsa DAO. Can you kind of explain what that means to the listeners?
Yes, Tulsa DAO or Tulsa DAO. DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. I think you'll be hearing more of that term over the coming years, but kind of like we have governance and organizational structures like an LLC, a corporation, a nonprofit. These are things and organizations and governance mechanisms governed and recognized by the state. The state allows you to incorporate these entities. A DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, is incorporated on chain. That means the policies, governance, the decisions are integrated into a blockchain somewhere. So the Tulsa DAO, and DAOs are kind of displayed a bunch of different ways, but the Tulsa DAO is our attempt to say, okay, so it's been kind of Charlie and some buddies, Matt and the gang, putting on these Bitcoin meetups. We would like to create a bigger entity to facilitate this, to help promote healthy digital asset communication, education, and hopefully public policy. So if the mayor's office or Oklahoma legislature wants to know or have kind of boots on the ground as far as who operates in the space, we hope to be a good advocate for that. Right now, we're going to do the Tulsa meetups and other things, workshops under the Tulsa DAO.
So let me ask you this. I mean, how many other cities have DAOs, and is Tulsa kind of leading on this? Or, I mean, because I know this is a newer concept for a lot of people. People are doing it, but what are you hearing?
There are some regional efforts. So DAOs as a legal entity are recognized in the state of Wyoming and I believe Florida. And so this is a very nascent space. Like, we're not even sure what a DAO actually is going to be. We know that it's a new way to incorporate and govern stuff. You see some cities, there's maybe smaller projects which have like regional DAOs related to an interest or a business activity. But it's wide blue open ocean as far as the eye can see. Whatever you imagine, anything can be incorporated on chain. That's a possibility.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to learn more about what you're doing with the Tulsa DAO, where could they go?
Come to the Bitcoin meetup this Thursday. We will have websites. We have some social media accounts. What we'd like to do under a DAO is be able to designate official executors of those accounts on behalf of the DAO. And that's one of the cool things we can do. So next time you have me on the show, I guarantee you we will have specific domains, addresses, accounts to go to follow everything happening in Tulsa in the digital asset space.
And again, so we've got this Thursday, January 20th at 7 p.m., Bar 473. Come and meet like-minded people who want to learn and grow when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And again, you can also check it out. Find Charlie, find Matt, look for me. We'll usually be sharing all of the stuff on our social media. So until we get the official DAO websites and everything like that going.
Yeah, well, and don't forget, bring a boomer with you. Bitcoin is for everyone, not just the young whippersnappers. But I know it's we're going to explore this topic and more in coming episodes when it comes to DAOs in general. But it's going to be a fun time, so I encourage you to come join us.
Yeah, and then when we come back from break, we're going to have a special treat again. So it's Jerry Robinson from followthemoney.com, and he is our program's official economist and trader. He's going to help us decipher what the market's going to be doing in 2022. I
know, a lot of unknown variables in 2022, but when it comes to monetary policy and cryptocurrency cycles, we're going to unpack that. We're going to explore that on this episode. But Charlie, I know we talked about, obviously my prediction for the end of 2021 was wrong, and you were more on the Bitcoin super cycle prediction. Mm-hmm. Do you still think we're in a Bitcoin super cycle? Has the traditional cycle lengthened? Have you changed your stance at all?
I would probably qualify it. I think we're still in a bull market.
Okay.
So a super cycle just looks a little bit different. I use super cycle kind of broadly to say we're not going down for real. And in fact, I don't think we'll ever really, really go down.
Okay, well, that answers that. So he's saying still bull market. I'm still saying bull market. I'll be interested to see what Jerry has to say. But stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to bring him on, and we're going to cover all this and more.
Yeah, and I'm interested to, the Fed is supposedly going to raise interest rates 3, maybe 4 times this year. I'm interested in how many people from the traditional markets are going to start looking very closely at cryptocurrencies as a hedge. I think that's going to be a thing in 2022. That's me just whistling in the dark. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. My name's Russell Mills. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We do appreciate it. It's chilly outside. Cuddle up next to a warm radio, and we'll explain all this cryptocurrency stuff to you. Okay, well, maybe not all of it, but we'll take a flyer at it. It is a little complicated, but you can be safe. You can be cautious, and you just might prosper in 2022. Take a closer look at it with my friend here. He is the host of our show, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. They might call me the host with the most, but I doubt it. I'm actually here to just chisel just one little bit at a time with the cryptocurrency space to help you guys unpack it and understand it. Whether you're new, maybe you're just a lover of the space, maybe you're an expert, this is the place for you, and one of the few cryptocurrency radio shows in America. And to help me unpack this is my co-host, Eric Cooper. Eric, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Matt. 33 episodes. It's exciting because I remember when we sat down.
I think we're 34 in. This is 34?
Well, 33 is where you're going to be able to go back and take a look at all of our other episodes.
Because it's the famous lost episode.
Yep. But if you want to go on, you can go krmg.com. There's an on-demand function, and you can go back and listen to all the episodes. If you have a favorite podcast area, maybe Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, or even YouTube, go back to mattjmoore.com. You can go back and listen to all of our episodes. And, the famous lost one was us, kind of calming folks down during the big correction. And so, but it's been great. And I got to think that, here we're going to be sitting here in another year at episode whatever, and still just barely tipping the top of the iceberg on what crypto and blockchain and everything is.
Well, it's a new and evolving space, and I appreciate you coming along on this journey with me, but let's go ahead and bring on our returning guest today. On the line with us is Jerry Robinson, founder of followthemoney.com, and Jerry is our show's official economist and trader, and he is here to give us his take on the market outlook for 2022. Jerry, welcome back to America's only cryptocurrency radio show. How is 2022 treating you so far?
It's great to be here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Matt. 2022 is off to a great start for us. The family and I are getting ready to take a little vacation just to get away for a bit, especially this wintry weather. But here at Follow the Money, we launched our brand new crypto leaderboard service and our weekend crypto report. So that's been a really big hit among our members. But, Matt, it's really great to be back on the program. I appreciate your work, and I sense that we both feel the same attitude of gratitude and humility as we enter this new year.
Absolutely, 100%. In fact, I'm excited to have you on because I know you're going to have maybe a different viewpoint than some of us, and I know you watch this stuff really, really closely. So, but I have to start at monetary policy. We're talking the Federal Reserve and its shareholders, but, bear with me as I lay out my case. But yearly CPI inflation, which you're fully aware of, is up at a 39-year high of 7%. But if we were to actually use the same method of measuring inflation as we did in the 1980s, it would actually be the highest in history with inflation at 15%. We know that the Fed is talking about raising rates and tapering asset purchases, which in translation, tapering means they slow down their creation or counterfeiting of money. And if you are listening to this program and you don't already know, it is money printing that creates inflation, which means your dollar loses value. And due to the way our monetary system is currently designed, you need continual money creation to keep it going. The catch-22 is this, though. The last thing that the Fed wants is inflation to go out of their control. If it does, there is a complete loss of faith and confidence in their paper currency, or AKA Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. In fact, the Fed eventually wants to aim at bringing interest rates from 0 back to 2% by the end of next year, which would put us back closer to the rates we saw before the pandemic. But that's like spitting in the ocean. It's not going to do anything substantial, and it's often been said that you can't taper a Ponzi. I mean, I personally think that the Fed's painted itself into a corner, and they want to raise rates and taper money printing because they want to get inflation under control. That's exactly what the Fed did in the 1980s. They had to take big actions. Inflation was around 14%. Using the old method, right? And the Fed had to raise interest rates to 20% to help stop it. But by doing so, they also brought the economy to a standstill and a recession. Today, the markets are drunk on free and easy money and will throw a taper tantrum if the Fed does anything aggressively. If the Fed doesn't act aggressively, inflation continues, stocks and asset prices will continue to rise, and the confidence in the dollar erodes. However, if they do act aggressively, then we are possibly talking about stocks crashing, major recession, and a reduction in economic growth, which the politicians don't want. I personally think the Fed is bluffing. Government deficits are out of control. Public and private debt levels across the board are at record highs. We're looking at a world of hurt, no matter which way this cookie crumbles. But I say we ask Jerry, because he's probably a little bit more qualified than me to answer or talk about this. But Jerry, how long does this game go on? Can the Fed really get things under control? Or are we at an inflection point with our monetary system?
Well, there's an old saying, markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. It's an old John Maynard Keynes quote. And one of the things he got right, that's so true and you make a great point about the Federal Reserve central banking scheme and how it has, in the name of monetary stability, wreaked havoc upon the people's dollar. I mean, the U.S. dollar, the medium of exchange. So there's two parties here. There's the one who's doing the abusing, and then there's the one who's being abused. And I believe that both have a responsibility. So the abuser in this case is the Federal Reserve. It's debauched the value of our currency through its reckless and nearsighted policies. And they are always shielding the large investor class from economic realities through their policies, and then the rest of us are left to face the music. But in addition to the abuser, you also have the abused. And in this case, the abused are those who hold U.S. paper dollars over a long time period. Matt, for those who were around back in 1971, they remember that the average house cost $25,000. 1971, the average income was $10,000. A new car cost $3,500. The average rent was $150 per month. A movie ticket cost $1.50. Okay, so who's abusing the system? Who's destroying and devaluing the currency? How did a U.S. stamp go from 8 cents to the cost that it is now? Gasoline, 40 cents per gallon back in 1971. So who's doing the debauching? Who's the abuser? And the question that every American should be asking is, what has the government done to our money? But until now, the American public, Matt, as you well know, has been largely silent like frogs in the boiling pot, seemingly unaware that they face this ever-increasing hidden, or as some call it, a stealth tax in the form of inflation. So ultimately, the question may not be how long will the abuser abuse his victim. Perhaps the question we should be asking instead is, how long will the abused tolerate abuse from their abuser? When will they speak up? And I don't know when that tipping point comes, but it will come. Of that, I'm certain. Just a little note of reminder here that back in 1792, George Washington signed a bill into office, or a bill into law, that said that anyone who created paper money would face the death penalty. We have come so far from what the founding had envisioned for our monetary system. It's fractional reserve banking and all of the crazy monetary policies that we see on steroids. They are devastating to the value of the currency that we all share.
All valid points, Jerry. In fact, we got to go to break here, but stay tuned because we're going to ask Jerry his thoughts on what the markets are going to do in 2022.
And it should be an interesting conversation. You are listening to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We're talking about what 2022 holds in store for the cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology writ large. We'll talk more about it when we get back. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG Tulsa's News and Talk. Oh, welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We're live on 102.3 KRMG Tulsa's News and Talk. Thank you very much for tuning in. A reminder, you can find any of our episodes except one, and we won't go into the details on that. But the legend lives on. In any case, if you go to krmg.com or the KRMG app, click the on-demand section, and there you will find Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, and it's just a click away to all that digital goodness. Please welcome back our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, thanks, Russell. And you know what? If you're hearing a slight crackle, maybe a stench of smoke, those are your dollars evaporating and burning away in your pocket. And we're here to talk about cryptocurrency, which could save you from inflation. And we're talking about the outlook of inflation and the markets and cryptocurrency for 2022. In fact, we've got a wonderful guest with us here today. But in order to introduce him and to continue the conversation, I'm going to bring on my wonderful co-host, Eric Cooper.
Man, I appreciate it, man. And yeah, Jerry Robinson from followthemoney.com is with us. And Jerry was just kind of getting into his financial outlook for what's going on. And Jerry, based on your thoughts for 22, what do you think that we should expect in both stocks and cryptocurrency? Because it seems to me that the more institutions getting involved with crypto has been falling more closely with the regular stock market. And so if the Fed does raise rates and implements tapering, are markets going to perform poorly?
Yeah, Eric. So I do think that the cryptocurrency markets will become less volatile as they grow and more regulations are introduced. But despite what the Federal Reserve ultimately does, I do think that stocks and cryptocurrencies are two excellent asset classes for investors, young and old. I own both, but I think if you're going to participate in these markets, you owe it to yourself to have some education first, and you also need to understand the risks that are involved. That's why we stress the need to focus on high-quality assets. So you don't just invest in stocks. You invest in high-quality stocks. You invest in companies that you believe will not only outlive you, but that will be much larger when you reach retirement age. You don't just invest in cryptos, but you invest in high-quality cryptocurrency projects that enjoy growth and scale, and then you hold them for the long-term growth. So that's kind of the approach that we see. I see both of them excelling over time. In the near term, of course, I would expect a lot of choppiness as regulations begin to form and formulate.
So, Jerry, a lot of people were expecting the crypto markets to have a bull market like we've never seen, like we've seen in the past, and prices clearly didn't get to that expected level that many has hoped for. So, we didn't even see the top blow off like you usually do. So, has the cycle lengthened or has it completely changed?
Well, it all really depends. I mean, from my vantage point where I'm at, we saw massive gains in 2021. So I'm thinking of projects like Phantom, and I'm also thinking of things like Cosmos. I'm also thinking of things like the Sandbox. There are several projects that did, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000%, in 2021. It was incredible returns. Now, when you focus on Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin, of course, is the big elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. And the Bitcoin halving cycle has certainly lengthened over time. And the rate of change in volatility has also decelerated with each passing halving event. And so that's why, I think that's the reason why I suspect that we could have more upside, maybe even a new record high in early 2022, early part of this year. But no, we were not disappointed with last year's overall performance. We were very pleased. There were a lot of great gains.
So you're saying maybe halfway through 2022, we could see a Bitcoin price higher than 69,000, possibly.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what we believe.
Do you see that happening before or after the Fed does its thing with the rates?
I think it's really kind of independent of that. I think that this cycle that we're monitoring could end sometime, I would say probably the beginning of Q2, maybe the middle of Q2 at the latest. It's a lengthened cycle, but it's also shallower performance, shallower volatility. So you don't have as big of gains and they're lengthened in their return. So it is a little different.
Yeah, that makes sense. How has the maturing of the crypto market been in your eyes? I mean, because in the past, the crypto market has been dominated primarily by retail spot trading, and now we have institutions and nation states getting into the game, and I assume we'll probably see more nation states make Bitcoin a legal tender. Obviously, more methods. There's more methods and tools to trade crypto, including derivatives and leverage trading. So does this change the structure of the market?
Okay, so decentralization was the rallying cry of the Bitcoin white paper. Back in 2008, 2009, Matt, that's what was going on. That is the removal of a third-party intermediary to create this true peer-to-peer network, this true peer-to-peer monetary system. So Bitcoin becomes this currency without a government. It's an island all to itself. It was designed to provide an escape from inflation. And so you have Bitcoin's relatively tiny supply versus this rising global investment demand. It's a recipe for much higher prices. So, for example, we have a price target on Bitcoin. We were just talking about price. We have a price target on Bitcoin at $275,000 by 2025. Now, we issued that price target when Bitcoin was trading about $5,000 back in 2020. But we were currently very confident in that price target. But now, specifically to your question, what I see regarding the crypto market as it matures is, first, I have long pondered the potential unintended consequences that would come from a new wave of decentralization, and I suspect that we're going to see more unintended consequences with each passing year. And then finally, to the institutional investors, you can really follow a great website called bitcointreasuries.net. It's a free site that shows right now about 7% of Bitcoin's total supply is held by institutional wallets. These are known institutional wallets. We believe that Bitcoin's utility is still in its infancy, so we expect this number to grow over time. And when you add in the fact that nearly 20% of Bitcoin's total supply is lost and no longer is available, it's easy to understand how future waves of demand for Bitcoin are going to continue to have a large impact on its price.
So what would you say to the retail investor in 2022 when it comes to buying crypto?
Do it cautiously, have a plan. Everyone's situation is unique, and I am not a financial advisor, so I can't give specific investment advice. But what I can share is my own investment approach, perhaps as an example. I was fortunate enough to begin investing in Bitcoin around a decade ago. My approach has been the same ever since. So as far as allocation, I allocate 5% of my total investable assets into crypto. Basically, I invest a nickel of every new investment dollar into high-quality cryptocurrency projects. And for me, that's been a very smart move. I also think that it could be a smart move for others who understand the risks. But it's a very small amount. I think the small allocation gives us exposure without, risking the whole house, betting the whole farm. So that's how I would approach it. I would approach it cautiously and with a plan.
Jerry, everybody usually asks us, what new projects are we looking at? Do you mind sharing some of the stuff that you're looking at in 2022 and kind of what's caught your interest?
Absolutely. So there's several projects right now that are super hot. You have Phantom, I had mentioned earlier. Phantom rose about 10% on the week. But if you look at Phantom over time, it's gone up dramatically, probably about 11,000% over the last year. Now, it's not a blockchain project. It's actually called a DAG, or it's a directed acrylic graph. It's a platform that's definitely worth researching. The project looks solid, and its DeFi is actually accelerating at a very fast pace, the ecosystem. So there's a lot there. I would also say another one that's very interesting is the Near protocol. The problem with the Near is the fact that it's not really available in the U.S., and it has fierce competition from Solana. Solana, of course, is a really big juggernaut now in the top 10. We like to stick to the top 50, even though you can find a lot of value by going below the top 50. When you're talking about searching for high-quality assets in this space, you really want to stick to the top 50 by market cap. And that's what we actually do for our members. So we actually track all the top 50 and then rank them by trend. And right now, at the very top of the list is the Near protocol, followed by Phantom, also Harmony and Terra. Terra has also been a really dark horse that many people didn't see coming. But the Terra ecosystem is very fascinating. I think Cosmos and the Sandbox and Polygon would be a few others that I would throw out there. But there are a lot of great projects. Now, these projects, all come in the scope of thinking to yourself, well, Bitcoin is my core holding. So our core holding is Bitcoin, but we like to hold some of these other ancillary projects because we're still in the infancy of blockchain technology.
So going back to, before we go to break here, I don't know if I missed it, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on this. I was talking a little bit about monetary policy, the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, and they're talking, obviously 3 to 4 times here in the next year or two. Obviously, they want to get closer back to 2%. But by doing that, are they really going to have an effect on inflation? And, is it really like spitting in the ocean? And if they do, are the markets already pricing this in?
I would say that you've certainly seen some pricing in tech stocks and growth stocks. I mean, there is some massive carnage in some of the innovative tech companies that are out there. I'm thinking of companies like, certainly like Alibaba, which has just been hammered. You have companies also like Zoom that are way down. And then many blockchain technologies as well that are just way down. So I think we've already seen a lot of pricing in and maybe even an overreaction in some sectors. So I'm not too terribly concerned. I think about that aspect. I think the thing is, Matt, that the music will continue to play until it doesn't.
Right. And
I don't mean that to be in a smart aleck way. I literally mean that the system is an illusion.
Right.
But it's going to continue as long as people believe the illusion. And I don't know how long they will believe it.
Because inflation is transitory, right?
They continue to believe it.
Yeah, because inflation is transitory. So at least that's what they were saying.
Right.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to go to break here, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If this is over your head and maybe you want somebody to hold your hand in the crypto space, just go to my website, mattjmoore.com, set up a consultation. I'd be more than happy to help you out because this is what this is all about.
All right, we are going to take a quick time out, so we'll do that and pay our bills around here. I'm not sure they're taking crypto yet, but we're working on it. And we'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. You got it on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. I'm Russell Mills. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening. Been an interesting conversation as we've been talking with a man who really knows his stuff. His name is Jerry, and I'm looking for the last name because I completely lost it. Thank you, Robertson. And tell me again where he's based.
Yeah, I'm actually in Northwest Arkansas, not too far from you guys.
Not too far from Tulsa. Well, you need to come down here and attend the Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup one of these times. And then you'll be able to see Matt J. Moore face to face. Let's bring in our host, Matthew J. Moore.
Hey, thanks, Russell. And yes, it's been wonderful to have Jerry on. Jerry's very knowledgeable. In fact, Charlie's here in studio, and I think his jaw is still on the table because everything Jerry was spouting off about the crypto projects to look out for was basically verbatim his portfolio. Was that right, Charlie? Oh, he's got to hit the button.
Yeah, I was kind of floored. I was like, oh, you named my top 3 positions outside Bitcoin. Yeah.
He's like, who is this
good
guy?
Taste, my friend.
Yeah. Well, and that just goes to show that not only does Jerry know his stuff, but he's someone to follow in his work especially. And also in studio is Eric Cooper, my co-host. Eric, what did you think about all that?
It's funny because Jerry, I let my kids pick out which crypto they wanted, and my son picked out Terra earlier this year. And obviously, and then my daughter asked all that. And he's 3, by the way. So he just picked it out, and now they are competitive on whose is higher. And he's lapped my daughter's 3 or 4 times. So it's been pretty exciting.
Well, Jerry,
that is so fun.
Jerry, with you, just head deep into this stuff. Can you explain the products and services that you provide for those who might be interested in investing in crypto and kind of following your work?
Oh, sure. I really appreciate that, Matt. And as I mentioned, in 2022, this year, we introduced a brand new and I think a very exciting members-only service called the Crypto Leaderboard. And so the Crypto Leaderboard helps investors and traders focus on the hottest markets right now. So each weekend, we rank the largest 50 cryptocurrencies by their trend strength. And then we spotlight the top 3 cryptos on our website. We send out an email. We also create a PDF report. So we have already been hearing great feedback from our members about the new service because many people know, they know how to research cryptocurrencies. They know how to dig deeper. But what they're looking for is, what is actually beginning to move? What's beginning to accelerate? So if you're a short-term trader or a long-term investor seeking to identify the crypto leaders, then this service is definitely for you. I mean, I told our members when we created it, Matt, that I created this new service, the exact same service that I wish I had myself. So I created it for others, but it's exactly what I wish I had for myself, and now I do, of course. And so the crypto leaderboard and the crypto report, they come with our gold and platinum memberships here at followthemoney.com, and we provide a lot of ongoing coaching. People are at all different levels. Some people are brand new. Some people have been investing for a long time, and I think we bring value to all of them. People can just check us out at followthemoney.com and check out our plans and pricing page, and they'll see they can get access to the crypto report and all of our latest crypto recommendations and leaders, right there on the website.
So, Jerry, I think I know the answer to this question, but, how are you personally positioning yourself in these uncertain economic times? Should people stay with the status quo? I mean, can you give us something to chew on?
Yeah, I believe the best advice I could give after more than 2 decades of investing in stocks, real estate, commodities, businesses, and then more than a decade of investing in cryptos is, quite frankly, very simple. It's to be diversified. There are many different asset classes you can invest in, right? So you can invest in stocks, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in cryptocurrencies, you can invest in your own business, you can invest in other people's businesses. So I really want to encourage people to explore their options and educate themselves. And then once they begin to execute consistently. Once you begin to invest, do it regularly, make it a practice, and continue to diversify, have different asset classes in your life. And I think in the long term, you'll find that to be financial wisdom.
That's followthemoney.com. Isn't that right, Eric?
Yes, sir. And Jerry, once again, we appreciate you coming on the show. Anytime that you can, reach our listeners and help them with what they're doing, we appreciate it just personally. And if you're listening to us right now, don't forget to come say hi at the next Tulsa Bitcoin Meetup. It's January 20th. It's this Thursday, 7 p.m., Bar 473 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jerry, do you need me to come pick you up, or maybe next month?
You're tempting me. I want to come.
It's not too far away. And then, the address can be found at bar473.com. And once again, come meet like-minded people who want to learn and grow when it comes to cryptocurrency. So, Jerry Robinson, followthemoney.com. Jerry, again, we appreciate you being on with us tonight.
That's right. And
really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's been wonderful, Jerry, and I look forward to having you on the show many, many more times to come. I'm happy to call you our official economist for the show, but it's been fun. If you're listening to this show and you want to maybe sit down one-on-one, you can go to mattjmoore.com, and I'd be more than happy to consult you, introduce you to some of my friends, and we'll just make it a grand old time. But again, that's mattjmoore.com, and that's also followthemoney.com for Jerry Robinson. He's got great stuff, so be sure to check him out.
All right. Thank you very much. Great show, guys. Do appreciate it. And we will be right back here next Sunday for more cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We keep it live. We keep it local. We keep it real right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Again, you can get all those episodes at krmg.com or on the KRMG app. Just go to the on-demand section. And that website again, Matt J. Moore with 2 O's and a D, mattjmoore.com. See you next week for cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG.